Hey guys, it's Alexis, and I'm here today to film the intimidating TBR tag. So many people have been doing this tag, and I originally was going to wait until I moved into my new apartment, but that's over a week away, and I've just seen so many people doing it, it makes me really excited to do it myself. This tag was originally created by Lindsey Rey, so I will link her video down below. I wasn't tagged by anybody, but like I said, I just really wanted to do it. Question 1. What book have you been unable to finish? So I actually don't have an answer for this one, because usually if I'm struggling to finish a book, I'll either decide to DNF it or I push through and finish it. And none of the books that I'm currently reading have really been that way. So I don't really have an answer for this one. The closest I can come to is The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This book took me forever to read, especially compared to how fast I read the rest of the Throne of Glass books. Just because really novellas are very hard for me to read, and it usually takes me a long time to read those. So this one took me like 3 months to read, where like the rest of the books in the series took me like maybe a couple days. So yeah. What book have you yet to read because you just haven't had the time? So I'm going to go with the Percy Jackson Plus books from Rick Riordan. I literally couldn't even find any of my Percy Jackson books, so I had to grab The Lost Hero, which is from the companion series about Roman mythology, which I haven't read. But I read The Lightning Thief years and years ago, and so I recently purchased all of the Percy Jackson books, and then I have this one, and I have Magnus Chase and Sword of Summer, but I've yet to sit down and actually read them because of the fact that I have to basically read 2 whole series and then start a whole new one with the Magnus Chase books, and I know it's going to be a huge commitment and that I'm going to want to sit down and read the whole thing. You know, I'm not going to want to stop in between. And even though these are middle grade and they do read fast, it's just a large chunk of books that I have to go through. So I think next year one of my big projects for the year is actually going to be to read all of the Percy Jackson books as like a year-long project. So yeah. But I'll be very excited to do that eventually. What book have you yet to read because it's a sequel? And for me, this is White Lily by Rochelle Mead and the subsequent books in the Bloodline series. I read Bloodlines like the day or the second day it came out, and I really enjoyed it. And then I bought White Lily on my Kindle, and that was fine, but for some reason I never got around to reading it. And now the whole series is completed and I haven't read past the first one. And so I definitely do want to finish those because I love the Vampire Academy series and I still really enjoy the world, which of course Bloodline still takes place in. So I haven't read it yet, but I definitely plan to eventually. What book have you yet to read because it's brand new? And for me, this is Rebel of the Sands by L1 Hamilton. I think this is the most recent new release book that I've bought. I have a few books I've bought recently that were just older books that I bought, but this is the most recent one, and I literally look at this book every day and I go, do I want to pick this up today? And it's like I have so many other books that I need to read first before I can dive into Rebel of the Sands, but I definitely am so excited to read this book. Like, so excited. Number 5, what book have you yet to read because you read a book by the same author and you didn't enjoy it? And so the only thing I can think of is that I have yet to read The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde because I read The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde and I really didn't care for that one. And I know that those two are very, very, very different books. In fact, The Importance of Being Earnest is a play, it's not even an actual novel. So it does make me a little hesitant because I didn't like it to go into The Picture of Dorian Gray. I'm worried that I won't like it. But I've heard so many amazing things about The Picture of Dorian Gray and the anti-hero aspect and just how timeless the book is. So I'm sure that I will enjoy it when I get to reading it. What book have you yet to read because you're just not in the mood for it? And for me, that's The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. And it's not because I don't think I will like it. This is my brother's actually favorite book series, and every time I go over to his house, he's like, when are you going to read The Name of the Wind? When are you going to read The Name of the Wind? When are you going to read The Name of the Wind? And I'm really excited to read it. My problem is that I know I'm going to love it, and I'm going to want to read The Wise Man's Fear and The Slow Regard of Silent Things, and I'm going to love those too. But there's no set release date for the 3rd book in the series, and I don't want to read these and fall in love with them and then have to wait God knows how long until the next book comes out. So it's just really put me out of the mood to read these books. If a release date is finally announced, that's probably when I'll pick them up. But yeah, The Name of the Wind. What book have you yet to read because it's humongous? And for me, I chose the biggest book on my TBR shelf, and that is The Arabian Nights, or 1001 Nights. This is the Barnes & Noble's Leather Classic Edition, and this is translated by Sir Richard E. Burton. I've actually started to read this book, but I know that it's a huge book and that it's written, this one's particularly is written in Old English, is like translated into like Old English, and so I know it's going to take me forever to read it, so I actually bought the audiobook to listen to, and this is like my year-long project for the years that I'm going to try to read this over the span of the whole year because it's 700 plus pages, but this edition is so beautiful and it has full page illustrations in it. And even just the pages with words are illustrated. This is a beautiful edition, and I'm only 3 stories in, but I really am enjoying this. It's a beautiful book, and I can already tell that it's probably going to go up there as one of my favorite classics. So, Arabian Nights. Book have you yet to read because it was a cover buy, and then it turned out to have not so great reviews. And so for this one, I'm going to choose Magonia by Maria Devana Headley, or Headley. Oops. I wouldn't say this has really bad reviews, but I've watched a few videos where people have just said that it was confusing and the magical realism wasn't done correctly and stuff like that. And I'm actually a very huge lover of Latin American literature and their style of magical realism, so that also kind of worries me that some people have said that the magical realism in this is kind of weird, because I'm like, oh god, I've read so much magical realism, what am I gonna do? So yeah, Magonia. And then finally, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR? So some of you might be confused because I'm not even entirely sure what about this book is so intimidating to me, but I'm gonna have to choose Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I honestly don't even know what is so intimidating to me about this book, but every time I look at it, I'm like, oh man, it's such a complex novel about politics and court intrigue and this young girl coming to rule her kingdom, and it's literally like all of the things that I know I'm going to love, but it's like, it's not even that big of a book. I mean, it's only like 400 and something pages, which really isn't big, but I'm just nervous for some reason. I'm intimidated by it. Why do you intimidate me? Why? Alright guys, so that has been the intimidating TBR tag. It's a really fun tag to think about. It really definitely makes you think about all the books you've yet to read, which is scary too. But hopefully I want to upload a bunch of videos before I move, and then the next time you guys will see me in a different environment, I'll be in my new apartment, and that'll be very exciting, and hopefully when I move into my new apartment I'll be filming videos a whole lot more. But yeah, so you guys should let me know down below what is your most intimidating book on your TBR tag. Bye guys!